Hey everyone, it is me, your favorite OM system employee, I'm sure, right at this point? Nah, it's okay if I'm not. Mishalla, I am really excited to be hanging out with everybody tonight. As you guys probably have heard at this point, we launched some new stuff this week, or today, this morning, or late last night, depending on where you are in the world. And judging by all these comments in here, we've got people from literally all over the world. Sweden's joined us. New Mexico's here. We got Atlanta. I see Erin from my home state. Hello, darling. Everybody is here. All right. So I'm going to get started and talk through a few things, and then we're going to bring our ambassador on and just have a really nice conversation about his experience utilizing the new products. Of course, you've heard we have the new OMSYSTEM OM3 camera with that awesome creative dial. I don't know if you guys remember the Pen F. I do and love the Pen F. It's got that dial on there. We also reintroduced the 17 millimeter f1.8 and the 25 millimeter f1.8. They're both a Mark II now, fully weather sealed, which is awesome for any of our cameras that are weather sealed, right? It's a great update on those cameras. And last but not least, don't forget, we also upgraded the 100 to 400 millimeter. It has been updated with full Sync IS now. So for those bird and wildlife photographers out there, you OM1 shooters, you're going to be very happy with that updated Sync IS for now 7 stops of EV compensation. So that's pretty rad. So that's the rundown of the new products. Very excited. I have mine on loan, so I don't get to play with mine tonight, but thank goodness Matt Suess is going to be with us tonight, and he'll be able to show off his camera and all the fun things that it does. We've got my dear colleague Jim Harper in the comment section tonight. So if you have questions or concerns, he will be helping me out answering some of the questions in the comments section. Sorry guys, I'm rusty tonight. If you are just now tuning in and you haven't seen all of the other stuff that's happened today, we have had live streams pretty much all day. It started with Coffee with the Claires, my other favorite OM System employees. It is on our YouTube channel. You can watch all of the playbacks. We also have them in several different languages. We've got German, Polish, Czech, French, all that going on. So if that is one of your languages, definitely check out our channel. And I'm going to have Jim drop our events link in the chat for you guys. We've got upcoming Zooms and live streams all week long to kind of deep dive into the cameras and take a look at some of the camera and take a look at some of the art and work that's been created with it. So that's really exciting. And we are going to be doing some global first look events all over the planet, the world, globe. In-person events at local camera dealers. So Jim will also share that list as well. Like I said, all over the globe, our sales reps and our tech experts will be hitting the streets and they will have the camera in hand. So definitely check that out and see if there's one local to you so you can come see us. And I guess that's really the nitty-gritty. And we should probably get into talking with our ambassador tonight, Matt Suess. So I'm going to bring him on. Matt, hello.
Hello, Mishalla. Hello, everyone tuning in. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you sound good to me. We've been having some audio things going on tonight, guys. So if anyone can't hear anything, please do let us know in the chat. You guys always do, so I'm not worried.
Oh, man, what an exciting day today. We have a new camera that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, I'm excited. And it's kind of crazy because you and I actually worked on another product launch together, the OM5 and the T-Top.
Yes, and with Ted there too. A lot of fun.
Yes,
that project.
Yeah, Matt was my photography guide. He taught me how to navigate around the woods in the dark to take starry sky photos and yell, "Hey bear!"
Yep.
Which I never want to have to yell again in my life, for the record. So, Matt, you've had the camera for what, about 2 months now? A month?
Yeah, and so earlier mid-December.
Nice.
Yeah.
And which lenses? You got some lenses with you too, right?
Yeah, I have and it's right here, the new 17 millimeter f1.8 Mark II.
Yes. Weather sealed. I'm so excited for that lens.
Yes, and I definitely needed it out in Norway.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you went to Norway and it was super cold and probably raining.
Rain, wind, snow, salt water, all of it.
Yeah, I was following your Instagram stories along and I was like, well, at least he's putting the camera to the test, right?
Definitely.
Well,
it performed admirably. And And this is a fun, creative camera.
Good, good. I'm glad. And you went kind of to a lot of places, right?
Yes.
You've kind of been
Yeah.
on the road a lot.
Oh boy, man, my airplane bill lately has just been crazy. I'm enjoying all those extra miles though. And yeah, so I was out. I first got it in Connecticut when I went and visited my folks out in Connecticut and first started taking my first pictures with the camera out there. Then I went to Arizona, my old stomping grounds where I used to live, and traveled all over Arizona from Tucson all the way up to past Flagstaff on Route 66. And then I was leading two back-to-back photo workshops in Lofoten, Norway. I just got back from them like about 10 days ago. And yeah, this camera has seen a lot of miles, and I've taken over like 3,500 shots with it. And I really, really enjoy this camera.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. And I'm sure everyone will be glad to hear that it also takes the same battery as OM1 Mark II. I'm just going to put that out there because I know that question's coming because I've seen it come up like 4 times today. So that's nice. But what was your favorite feature of the... Oh, goodbye, lights. Did your power go out?
I just had a little surge there. Oh, this is nice.
You have like a really nice mood lighting.
I know. Isn't this nice now?
You look like a Renaissance painting.
Hold on 1 second.
No problem. I will entertain you guys all and answer questions. What's the cost? In the US, the cost is $19.99 for the body only. It varies in other markets. I don't have everyone's price points memorized. Sorry, guys. We are also doing a promotion in the US. We are giving $200 off on the OM3 with either the 17 millimeter or the 25 millimeter Mark II lens. The European team, I think, has a different, they have extended warranty and a camera strap that's pretty cool. So each region's going to have a little bit different price and a little bit different kind of pre-order campaign, but there's a goodie for you no matter where you live. And your lights are back on, Matt.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be seen again.
So I was going to ask you, is there a call out feature that you really liked about this camera, or any like one particular thing you were very excited about?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm really addicted to that creative dial. So I have not experienced this before. So I never had any of the Pen Fs that I believe had this, correct?
Yes.
Yes. And so, I mean, this creative dial is really the kicker for me. And it's so great. And I don't know if everyone knows about this yet, but you can, out in the field, when you're out there in front of your inspiration photographing, you can go ahead and adjust things like individual color saturation on different colors. You can do a tone curve on your photo. You can do some vignetting, and we'll get into all the specifics there. And there's also an amazing monochrome feature on this too, where you can dial in the specific color channels and get some outstanding black and whites. And I'm a big fan for doing as much as you can out in the field, as opposed to just photographing and then worrying about it and trying to fix mistakes in post-processing later. So I think with this camera here, being able to do all of that out in the field and get the look that you want right out there, right when you're being inspired again with the scene, is just, I love this.
Yeah, I'm a veteran Pen F shooter. I've got mine sitting literally right next to me. I've been a color dial or color creative dial user for several years. It's actually what got me into Olympus cameras originally, was the Pen F. That's what sold it. It was the monochrome mode on that camera. For about 2 years, all I shot was monochrome photos with that because it was so good. So I'm really excited to see that dial come back. As soon as we learned about this and got to see a sample, I was so giddy. I was just like, oh my gosh, we're bringing it back, because we've not had this on a camera since the Pen F, and I'm so excited that it's back. And it's in, a vintage style form factor. Of course, it's not a rangefinder like the Pen F was, but it's got that vintage look to it. But it also has like the guts and the glory of the OM1 Mark II inside of it. So it's like, it's everything I wanted my Pen F to be upgraded to. Like, I wanted the better autofocus. I wanted the better user interface. I wanted the bigger battery and the weather sealing, of course, the weather sealing, and my creative dial. So I'm very pleased with this camera. It was something I was waiting a long time for. So
yeah, and it is built like a tank too. And I was just noticing in some of the comments here, actually, from Carlos, he was asking if any photojournalists are using OM1s. And I used to be a photojournalist back in the day, and I would definitely love having this camera in my toolkit. This thing is built to take the pounding that a photojournalist is usually kind of rough on their gear. But this thing is so solid, metal body, and it feels really nice and tight.
I agree. The metal body was exciting. It's going to have a nice, strong bottom plate. It's going to be indestructible, kind of like my Pen F was. I don't even want to admit how many times I've dropped my Pen F. That thing has seen some things.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be allowed to be
drop this already too, even though this one's a loaner.
Be careful. I need that back, Matt. All right. So let's jump in and start looking through some of your photos, because I know that I can yap forever about the Pen F and the color creator and all the dials, but
let me go ahead and get my screen again.
Yeah, and I'll bring it up just as soon as it's ready.
Okay.
We've got some fans from Connecticut. When you said Connecticut, 5 people were like, yay, Connecticut.
That's where I was born and raised.
They're here to represent tonight. Thank you, everyone. So the camera is not going to be coming in black, just to answer that question off the bat, because I saw it earlier tonight too, and I saw it here. The camera will be only, at this time that I know of, only issued in the silver body with the black leather casing. Okay, hold on. I'm adding you to stage. Hold on. Here we go. So here's a picture of it. We're looking at the camera in the desert.
In Arizona. Yep. Oh, nice and warm down there. It's a little cold up here in Montana. We just got a foot of snow, but always nice to be back in the snow. And yeah, the camera brought it to Sedona too. Had to get a couple pictures there, and then me out in Connecticut. So this is when I first got it. This was the very first night I was out there photographing it. My girlfriend took this picture. She actually could be a pretty decent photographer, making me look good in this photo there. It's probably the camera making me look good. And again, out in Route 66. And just the other week out in Norway, and it's kind of tough to tell in this photo right now, but the wind was blowing 50, 60 miles an hour. It's sleet, it's rain, and this camera was just totally up for the task. But let's go through a little voyage here on my trip, crossing all over the place here with this camera, starting with Connecticut, and shout out to those people out here watching from Connecticut. I was going to say,
there's a lot of them.
Recognize where this place is. I'm sure they will. First, I had to go to the beach, and this is literally one of the very first photos I shot with this. And this is my girlfriend and my mother out there walking along the beach at Rocky Neck State Park. I haven't been there in a long time. And a lot of these photos, I have on the lower left-hand corner, you can see which lenses I used and the shutter speeds and f-stops. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say it out loud for every single photo unless it's really important to the creative process on that photo. But at least you see my camera settings down there. And then also I'll let you know if it's actually just a straight out of camera shot, and I'll have the abbreviation SOOC for straight out of camera, or if I did a little bit of editing to my photos as well in post-processing. And if you guys know me at all, I am a big fan of black and white photography too. That's where I got my roots in photography. And so one of the first photos I was taking, had to switch it into the monochrome mode and got a nice silhouette of my girlfriend along the beach. And then we started getting some really nice golden light. And this is when I started playing around with the custom features where I can adjust the color saturation and tone curves and things like that. And I was able to dial in a really nice saturated warm color that really complemented what I was seeing out there. And I mean, I was looking at the back of the camera and I was like, wow, this is amazing how I can get this control out in the field where I don't have to necessarily bring this back to life with a raw file and in post-processing later.
And I see it looks like you threw in some vignetting on the edges there too.
I did. Yep.
Yep. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of using vignettes, and I think that probably comes from my my roots in black and white photography. So vignettes are really nice because it darkens the edges, draws your eye right into the middle of the photo. And just walking around the pier over there, wonder if anyone knows where I am and what was going on here. This is just before Christmas. And again, just a nice simple snapshot with that really nice warm light in the vignette on this. And some more fishing gear. And then, yeah, so for crabs, lobsters, everything out there. And then this is with the 17. All these photos here were with that brand new 17 f1.8 lens, and I'm pretty impressed with the ability to get some really nice star bursts out of the sun when I'm shooting directly into the sun. And we can see that in this photo here. And you can see this one here was just slightly edited a little bit more just to bring out the sun and the light and everything in post-processing, but very minor editing on this photo. And you can see how that vignette really works really well on this too. And then this is the giveaway of where I was. This is a lobster pot tree that they make this tree, holiday tree, out of lobster pots. And you can go in, walk inside there and walk around. But, you know, again, using the using one of the creative colors settings that I was shooting all night with, just really made this come alive at night with that warm light. And then that shading, that vignette on the edges, again, I think really just ties this photo together really well. And again, all of those photos were with the 17 1.8. You ready to go to Arizona?
Oh, I love these. This is Route 66, right? You did like a road trip tour on this?
Oh man, yeah. I flew into Tucson, went and headed north, photographed in Tucson for a little bit, then headed north, went to Sedona, went to boy, where else did I go? Up to Route 66 outside of Flagstaff, then came back down into Scottsdale, and then back into Tucson again. So yeah, so we are on Route 66, and let's start talking about this creative dial. What do you think,
Yes.
Mishalla?
Yes, let's talk about it.
All right. So I got a video here. Do you want me to play this, or were you going to play this? I can't remember.
You know what? I'm going to play this just to make sure it's not choppy. So you skip to the next slide, and I will bring up the video. Nope. Sorry, guys. That was the black and white, right? So we're talking through the black and white color dial. So I'll bring that up here.
I am out here in historic Route 66 in Arizona with my OM System OM3, and I'm going to get a fantastic black and white photograph. Let me show you how I'm going to do it. First, what I'm going to do here is on the very front, I'm going to switch this dial here to monochromatic, black and white mode. Then let's take a look at the settings. Now I just need to bring up my super control panel. I'll hit OK, and where it says mono 2, I'll go ahead and select that. I have 4 mono settings here built in, and what I'll do here is go to mono 2. I have my color filter set to red. Here are my curve settings, -2 on the vignette, 0 for sharpening, +2 for contrast, low for film grain, and color neutral. All I have to do now is go ahead and take a picture and check out that black and white.
Amazing. No idea how we were also on the screen with that video. Guys, I know you guys watched the Coffee with the Claires and they had some glitches this morning too. These are live streams and I am not a professional. So these things are always a little wild. Huge fan of this. I like the heavy contrast on it. This is the one thing from, again, sorry, I'm going to spout about the Pen F all night, but this is that one thing from the creative dial on the Pen F that was my favorite, was the adjustability of your black and whites to be able to really mess with that S curve and kind of give it that punchy tone. Oh, love it.
Yeah, same here. And I was just taking a quick peek at the comments as that video was playing, and I got to give a shout out. My mother is watching from Connecticut. Hey, Mom. And
that's amazing. Connecticut showed up tonight. Thank you, guys.
And I did notice a post, yes. So the photos that you get when you're using this creative dial, it's baked into the JPEG file. But also, if you're shooting RAW and JPEG, now I still have the OM workspace, and it's still not fine-tuned yet for the OM3, I don't think, but I was seeing all of those color settings in the RAW file. So you can shoot, what I would recommend doing is shooting in RAW and JPEG. Your JPEG file is going to have all that information all baked into that JPEG file, but then you're still going to have the versatility of having the RAW and being able to do whatever you want with that RAW file.
Yeah, when we were testing this for the content creation for the launch video, I was shooting in JPEG and RAW, and it's so funny because I was shooting the same image over and over with all the different types of creative options I had, and then I ended up with like a million of the exact same RAW file. But then I couldn't decide which JPEG edit I liked better. So I mean, I don't know if you ran into that problem at all while you were doing this, but I'm like, ooh, I like this one. Ooh, I like it this way.
Well, I want to say something too, just about JPEGs. I mean, people get so scared about JPEGs, especially from people who are used to a raw workflow. And I mean, the JPEG files that the OMSYSTEM cameras, and not just the OM3, but all their cameras I've just found them to be fantastic. And if you spend just a little bit of extra time, and it could just be a couple extra seconds, making sure you nail your exposure out in the field and, and get the color settings really close to what you want, you can edit those JPEG files. And I edit them in Camera Raw in Photoshop. And there's still a lot of leeway that you can do, assuming that you got a really good exposure and you were close in your color to begin with.
Exactly. I mean, I'm team JPEG and everybody gets mad at me about it, but that's okay. Get it right in camera.
So let's take a look here. I got a couple of slides here of just what we're looking at when we go into the settings here. So basically where I'm getting this from is going to your quick control panel. And then I just found the shortcut, just hit the OK button and then go. You'll see where it'll say, oh boy, what is it going to say again? Mono 1 or what is it? Color? I can't remember.
Color 1. Yeah, depending on what mode you're in.
Yeah, and you just select that. You just hit that with the OK button. And then you get into these screens here and you can save 4. So there's 4 in the mono and 4 in the color that you can save as basically presets. And we're looking here in the black and white in the mono right now. And you can adjust the filter, the color filter, which is going to greatly have an impact on the photo that you're looking, when you're out there creating. This is where you can get those really rich black skies with a deep blue sky. And I have some samples here of a couple different variations of black and white photos you can get when you're doing these different adjustments. You have an S-curve here, so you can adjust shadows and highlights and midtones with your S-curve. Shading effect for that vignette. Sharpness, you can add or subtract sharpness to your photo. I haven't been doing that. I've just been leaving that at 0 for all the shooting that I've been doing. And then also contrast, go ahead and increase or decrease contrast when you're in the mono mode. And you can also add a little bit of a film grain effect too. I've been using the low for a lot of my photos. And then you can also give it a color tinting to it too. So you have N for neutral black and white. You have S for sepia, blue for blue, P for purple, and G for green to give your photos some color tinting to them. How about you, Michelle? You use a lot of the color tinting. I was using the sepia, and I did find a couple instances where the blue worked pretty decent as well.
Yeah, I've done the sepia a couple of times when I'm just trying to do something a little bit funky or specific project. I've used the blue before several times, but I actually find that I tinker more when I'm utilizing the monochrome mode. I tinker more with the color filters themselves. I like to experiment with them. There's one, I want to say it's the red one that just makes skin tones look very bizarre, and it almost kind of like tintype.
Oh, nice.
It pulls out the different tones in the skin. And I just think that's really interesting for kind of strange portraiture. I've played with that one a lot. But yeah, I like to play around a little bit with the color filters, especially when I'm doing landscapes and stuff, because it's really interesting. I mean, and you can see it live through the camera when you're adjusting it with the dial as you move through those filters, how dramatically different your image looks. Like the sky changes tone, the reds will totally drop out or get really dark. It's really cool how much control you can have over your black and white photography with those. But yeah, big fan of the blue.
Wow, nice. And I like, what did you say about your portraits? They were what?
What did I say? A little weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of funky.
Talking about sepia, here we are straight on the camera with the M.Zuiko 7-14 f2.8 Pro lens. I found that this lens is fabulous as well for getting those sunbursts, and just put your f-stop up at a high number. This was at f14 handheld, and gives a nice little creative spin to the with the sepia, and also this little tighter shot with the 12-100 f4 Pro lens. and getting some really nice late evening sun on that. And then handheld for a slow exposure. This was a 40th of a second. I had to drop my ISO down to 80 to the very minimum I could and put my f-stop up at f16, and got a nice handheld with a little bit of blurring with the car driving by on Route 66 and doing this in black and white. And again, straight out of camera, these JPEGs are. And here we are again, just getting a little bit, getting a little artsy down in Tucson here with the 12-100 black and white. It's, you know, again, if you know me, you know I love black and white, and it's about photographing shapes and textures and details. And so, you know, it's so great being able to put this in black and white mode, being able to use that creative dial and dial in the contrast that you want, use those color filters to get just the look that you want when you're out there photographing. And it makes photographing even more fun when you can do that right then and there, instead of having to wait for post-processing. And I mean, I was just having a blast with this was, I got the sunlight behind me. I have just these blue skies behind this church. And, you know, just dialing in, I think I was using the red filter on this to get the sky just really black, and just really nice high contrast, high key photo here. Type of black and white that I like. Okay, so now let's take a look at what you can do in the color. And Michelle, when you want, let me know if you want me to go live into the camera here as opposed to these screenshots.
Yeah, actually, maybe let's switch over and do the camera, and you can kind of show how that spider web works, because on the color one, it's definitely a little bit more elaborate.
Okay, let me stop sharing and switch over.
And then when you get done with that, let's take a pause and answer a couple of these questions, because I see your guys' questions coming in. They're all very good questions, and there's stuff that we can definitely answer tonight. I've been starring them as we go, and I know Jim is doing an amazing job helping answer stuff, and Mike Amico joined us, and he's answering stuff.
Hey, Mike.
Thank you, guys. It's all hands on deck tonight. So,
Awesome.
All right, I'm going to make this just you. There you go.
Right.
Now show your stuff, Matt.
So I'm just hitting the OK button on the back of the camera. It brings up the control panel, and you can see right over here on the left, there's color 2. So that means I'm all set up for color with the second profile that I have here. And this one here I've been using a lot. And you can see my settings over on the right there, where if you just move the, you got the index, you know, the dials on the top of the camera, you can go ahead and give more saturate, give more vividness, less vividness. You can go right around the wheel here on the color and go ahead and adjust specific colors and their vibrancy, which is just gives you so much control out in the field when you're photographing. And again, we have the tone curve as well. And we got the shading, so the vignette. And sharpness, again, I mentioned I leave that at 0, and contrast. So we don't have as many controls in the color as we do in the black and white, but we have all the basics there as well. But again, going up to this this color wheel here and all the different colors you can adjust the vibrancy for and just get tons and tons of different looks. I forget, Michelle, I think you had the information on how many different variables are there, combinations. I'm putting you on the spot to see if you still have that info.
I don't remember the number. It's a lot. There's so many. It's so many, because it's like each one there's 4, and you can change all of them, and then you can save them to a custom mode. It's so many. Mike, maybe Mike can answer this in the comments, because I can't look it up on my screen right now because I have to type a bunch of stuff. But yes, there's so many. I knew that was going to come up, and I should have had it written down.
and of course, it's going to be me who's going to ask you live, where you could have seen it in the comments and then had a delay.
Right. No, you got to put me on the spot. Mike is looking it up. He's going to get us the answer of the total number of combinations. I believe it's coming through. Quickly, I'm going to just jump through. I've only got a couple starred comments or questions, and they're kind of simple, quick move through questions. I saw this come up quite a bit. Are there 2 card slots on the OM3? No, there's 1 card slot. It's an SD card slot, UHS-2, just like OM1. So fast, easy read, but only the 1. One more I can update. Yes, OM Workspace should be getting an update. The OI Share app on both Android and iPhone should be getting an update sometime in February as well. So that will happen. And I did actually see a comment actually, I'll just show it here. Will it be possible to share the custom film-like profiles using Wi-Fi? You can upload them to the OI Share app and share them with other people, yes, or other cameras. Like if you have 2 cameras, you can switch it over. So yes, that will be possible. And then Matt, did you shoot with the 12 to 40 at all with it? I know I have, but I'm not sure if you have.
Yes, yeah, and I have some photos with the 12 to 40. I don't have the Mark II version though, so I have the original version. Was there a question?
Will the balance of the camera feel weird with the 12 to 40 2.8? I don't feel like it did, but
no. And I was even shooting with the 40 to 150 2.8, and that felt really nice too. I was surprised. But yeah, I was, with the one, I put my 100 to 400 on, and it's not made specifically for wildlife.
Right.
It's once you start getting with the bigger lenses, then it's going to feel a little bit more off balance. But with the 7 to 14, the 12 to 40, the 12 to 100, and again, even going up to the 40 to 150 2.8 felt great.
Yeah, I mean, I use the 12 to 40 almost all the time, unless I'm doing portraits or things like that specifically. The 12 to 40 is always on my camera. It's been on my Pen F. It goes on my OM1. I don't feel like the balance is off on that at all. And it hasn't felt like that to me on the OM3 either. That's what I had the whole time we were filming. So,
yeah. Oh, and I will address one thing too. It does not have grip. And when I first got it, I was like, oh man, it doesn't have a grip. Even the OM5 does. But I thought I was going to miss it, but then after shooting 3,000 plus images with it, for this camera and for what this camera is designed for, I actually wasn't missing it. And then I went to pick up my the OM1 with the grip, and I was like, wow, this camera is big. It was fun, interesting on that. And so, I already ordered my own OM3. Because I can totally be seeing this as my main landscape and general walking around camera. And then when I want to do the wildlife and things like that with the longer lenses, when I need that hand grip, then switching over to the OM1.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, that was I've talked about this before. My Pen F was my farmer's market camera is what I called it. So whenever I was out and I just wanted to I wanted to document what I was doing, and I wanted cool photos of my weekend or something, that was always in my bag because it's so small. And my OM1 was I'm very serious about what I'm doing today. I'm tracking birds or going out, and like going to the wildlife parks and stuff, or leading classes or things. I tend to lean towards my OM1, but this is definitely going to be, I don't want to say it's replacing my Pen F. I do love that camera, but it's going to replace my Pen F for now. I mean, it'll still have a spot on my shelf, of course. One other question about the LCD screen. Does it open out? It's fully articulated. It's just like the OM1, Mark I, and Mark II. So the screen fully moves around. So you can take selfies like Matt does.
Yep. Fully comes out.
And then this has kind of been mentioned a little bit in here. The film-like profiles, right, that are built into the Creative Dial. Will there be recipes provided? We actually are working on an educational page that will go live probably somewhere when the cameras start delivering to you guys, because you don't have them right now, so it won't do you any good. But we are working on that, and we're going to be working with some of our ambassadors to try to come up with ideas. And I guarantee there will be forums on this, because in the old days with the Pen F, there was always somebody in a forum, hey, I figured out how to make this recipe. Here's how you do it. This is something that we're looking into sharing with you guys, because obviously sometimes when you're out in the field, it's hard to come up with a particular look right on the fly that you're going for. And I know I have a little cheat sheet with all my Pen F film simulations, film-like profiles that I have going there, set to my custom mode. So I know each one, this one's my vivid, this one's my soft muted. Did you, the one other one that Mr. L has got a lot of questions tonight. Thank you for asking. I love the picture of your dog. Is it easy to bring up multiple exposure without a lot of hassle? Now, Matt, I don't know if you use this in the field, but one of the new additions to the camera is the computational photography button that's actually right on the back of the camera, where you can easily just tap and you are now into the comp modes, the computational photography modes. And if you press and hold, you can scroll through all of them. The last one on that would be the multiple exposure. So yes, it is very much easier to get to all of our computational modes. I don't know if you got to use any of our computational modes when you were testing it all.
Yeah, and we'll actually get to that specific button that's for that. I got a couple slides for that, and yeah, let's save the. We'll go into depth on that, but yeah, it's really cool. There's a dedicated button in back there now that gets you access to all of those computational features, and I was using a bunch of them. If you want to throw back up.
Yep, I got to bring you back up. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
I'm multitasking, guys. Sorry.
Good job. All right, so back to Route 66, straight out of the camera. This one here, for Route 66 in this area here, I just thought that turning down the color and the saturation was going to work a lot better. And so this is kind of like a muted, almost more like a little old Polaroid old photo that would be more reminiscent of like a Route 66 type of an image. And again, being able to do this out in the field when I'm photographing is just, it's so exciting to be able to do that. And then blue sky, I really had to crank up the saturation on this, get a really nice contrasty photo of the Route 66 sign. Again, straight out of camera. JPEGs are fantastic. And then this here, getting a little artsy again, walking through the Barrio district in Tucson. This is with the, here's one of those with the 12 to 40 2.8. And yeah, I mean, I was walking around the whole Barrio district with that lens. Camera felt fine with the 12 to 40. And again, I have the original version, not the Mark II, but there's no weight or any big difference between them. And then this is one of the hotels that I stayed at in Scottsdale. Gave this kind of like a little bit of an older slide film type of a look to the photo.
Yeah. That's cool. That reminds me of Palm Springs. I'm sorry. Yeah. It has a vintage Palm Springs vibe. I like it.
Man, I'm so bummed. I wish I had time to go into the pool, but I was running all over the place with this camera shooting, and I had to get some night scenes after this that we'll take a couple looks at with the live comp. And here we are again back at the Barrio district here with that 12 to 40 lens and some really nice shading, pumping up the colors on this particular image. And then I lived in Arizona for I don't know, 8-10 years, and I never hiked Camelback Mountain in Phoenix. And I was like, well, this will be a good thing to test with going out for a little hike, and brought a small lightweight tripod so I can do some long exposures of the valley below. And this was one here, 3.2 second with that 17 millimeter f1.8 lens. And, still had some stars up in the sky, some really nice lights in the foreground there. And I just did some minor editing on this image, and then switched to the 7 to 14 just as the sun was starting to get a little bit closer to breaking the horizon. And this was handheld. So this was an 1/8 of a second, f3.5. And again, just slightly edited on this photo here too. And then at the top of Camelback Mountain, I made it. And this is going back with the 17 millimeter lens. It's funny because I have the 17 1.2 Pro, and I love that for Astro. But walking around with the 17, which is a 34 millimeter full frame equivalent. This lens was fun to photograph with, and just having that one lens on the camera, and seeing the compositions that you could come up with. And this photo here, I'm pretty sure I probably used the live GND filter on this photo as well.
Oh, nice.
And then right after sunset, that's a star. I think that's Venus right behind the Saguaro over there. But handheld with that 17 millimeter lens, 30th of a second at f4, and just did a little bit of editing just to further bring out those colors at dusk.
I like that you utilize the GND filter. I forgot to mention that at the beginning in the computational button. Now you can quickly jump in and out of all the comp modes, but we also included the live GND in this camera, which is excellent. Yes. That came out in OM1 Mark II. So all of the computational features from the OM1 Mark II are going to be in this camera as well. So all the things that you're already utilizing and love, like I know you're a fan of high res mode, right? Yes. I've seen a lot of your high res mode photos. So it has the high res modes in there. It has the live GND. It has the live neutral density, which we introduced with back back in EM1X era. And of course, live comp, which I guarantee you've probably got some live comp photos in here too.
I do. Yep. Yep. And it's the same menu that's in the OM1, which, I'm a big fan of the new menu. Yeah. So let's take a look at some variety here on the photos. And this is with no, I wasn't using the creative dial at all on this photo. So just a regular standard raw file here. And these were with the 12-100. But then, just these are the 4 settings that I had at that time, going through, spinning the, selecting different color 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so these are the defaults that I had on that. And this is the one problem I have with this camera, Mishalla, is that I'm taking so many photos, because then it's like, ooh, I like how it looks on color 1. Ooh, I really like how it looks on color 3. And next thing you know, I have a whole bunch of photos. But I'll tell you what, that's a problem I will never complain about, is having more creative photos to then share with people.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about Spain. I was like going through them all, and I did the color creator and did this really purple sunset, and then I had a blue one, and then I was like, oh, I don't know which one. Now I have all these images, and I still don't know which one I like the best. But that's okay. It's
good
fine.
problems to have.
Right.
And then here's a sample of some black and whites that I just had at the time, just set there, that I was just going through and playing around with. And here's another. The one on the left actually was with one of my color settings. But then, just look at the difference on those 3 black and white photos, the results that you can get with dialing in different settings in there. And then, yes, live composite. And those are not meteors. Oh, man, this was in Tucson. There was so much air traffic there. I didn't even bother photoshopping them out. I just let them be there, because that's representative of this area here. And so this is live comp with the 17 millimeter lens, ISO 1000. I was doing 30-second intervals at f4. And this ran for probably about 45 minutes. And I did have a little off-camera light that I shined just for a little bit, just to give a little bit of illumination to the swirl so it would stand out from the background.
And I'm assuming you use Starry Sky AF, right?
I did, yes. This camera has Starry Sky AF, like all of our cameras have been coming out with that, and makes focusing on the stars so fast and so easy.
I've seen that question come up in the forums all day today, all the Facebook groups. They're like, but I think we must not have mentioned it has Starry Sky AF somewhere, because everyone keeps asking, but yes, it's in there, and it is
100% does,
awesome.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good thing to point out there. And here we are. So again, I missed that pool time to walk down to Scottsdale and get some live comp shots here. And this, I didn't bring a tripod at all or anything, so I just had the camera down on the ground with I think probably my hand underneath it, supporting it. And this was a live comp shot. I was doing half-second intervals, and I don't know how long, maybe a few seconds. I just stopped it until it looked good on the LCD screen. But here's one example here, and another one here as well with the live composite. And so at dusk. And let me backtrack here again. I showed it in a different photo here too, but in Connecticut at the fishing pier. But again, here we are here. I shot this at f10 so that I can get those starbursts out of the street lights. So that's all natural in camera. I didn't add those effects later. But this has a really nice star pattern for high key lights in your photos, such as street lights or stars and suns and things like that.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of your starburst action. We go back one. I just want to, I'm assuming here, because I'm looking at you're using live composite and you're utilizing the creative dial on this. Mm-hmm. And that question did also come up too. Can you utilize the creative dial and the computational features? And most of them, yes, you can. So not only can you dial in this to be a very dramatic, toned image exactly how you like, but you can also use the other modes to get even more creative, which I just think is awesome.
Yep. And I did notice, I think, I'm pretty sure I'm remembering this correctly, but when I was in high res modes, it would use the same color sets and everything like that, except for the shading. It wasn't doing the vignetting, if I remember correctly. And this could, I have a pre-production camera too. So,
I was going to say, I'll have to test this out. I'm not sure.
Yeah. But, outside of that, it was still doing all of the stuff for us here. You ready to go to Norway?
Yes, let's go freeze our buns off, guys. We're headed to Norway.
It's actually warmer in Norway than it is here in Montana.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about
the CP button.
Yes, yes. So that is in the back there above the autofocus button. And you go ahead and you press and hold that, and it's going to bring up a 2-level menu on the bottom there where you can switch between high-res modes, ND filters. It's not selected right now. I probably have it. It was in some sort of a mode that was not enabling the ND filter. But then you also have GND as well as the multiple exposure on the right. And, you have your full control over the GND. So the strength 2, 4, and 8, the soft, medium, and hard as well. And again, all you have to do is just push that button on the back, turn the dial, and let go, and you are good to go. So really fast and easy. I mean, I'm going to wear out this button myself. Okay, so this was one of the
gorgeous.
One of the first shots I got when at Norway this season, and again with the 17mm lens. I'm impressed with this for landscapes. And handheld 30th of a second, f5.6, and this was with the live GND, so that I darkened the sky just a little bit and just slightly edited. And most of these edits, when I say they're slightly edited, initially these were I was editing just the JPEG. I hadn't even tested to see if my version of OM Workspace was going to work on the RAWs, which I later did find out that it was working on them. But this was edited right from the JPEG. And again, very slight edit because I nailed everything when I was out in the field. And here we are, live GND, again, slightly edited. And, this was a incredible light that we had here this morning. We had just a sliver of light. And this was out here in Norway where at this point, and this was only like about 3 weeks ago, and we only had like maybe about 3 hours of sunlight, 3 to 4 hours of sunlight where the sun was above the horizon. So this sun was really low, going through a small little spot of clouds, and it was snowing behind the mountains. So I got this really nice blue in the background there, but using the live GND allowed me to balance the exposure right there in the field. And again, this was just slightly edited.
Ooh.
Yeah, let's talk about some northern lights, because that's why I go out there. And 17mm f1.8 doing its thing for me in the night sky. This was ISO 2000 and a shutter speed of 1.3 seconds at f2. And Mishalla, I said that I was using the live GND on this photo. Why would I be using live GND on a northern lights photo?
Oh, okay, maybe because the exposure's long and those houses are going to overexpose. Is that why?
You got it. I flipped it upside down. Yep. Yeah. So with the GND, we can flip that. So normally you have it so that it's darker on the sky, because usually that's what you're photographing, sunrises and sunsets. It's dark in the sky, so you don't, and your foreground is normally dark. Well, this was opposite. So I had a dark sky relatively with the northern lights, and I had a lot of bright lights in the foreground here. So I just flipped over that GND so that the dark end was on the bottom part of my photo. That helped keep those lights in control down below and helped balance out the whole exposure there.
I can't even, I would have not thought of that. That's such a great idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you.
Use case scenario. Look at you go, Matt Suess.
Well, I mean, I used to do them when I was using the glass filters too. So, every once in a while you get the, 9 out of 10 shots, you get that one where your foreground is way brighter and you want to use that to knock it down. And this was a perfect example in the night sky.
Yeah, that's amazing. So cool.
Okay.
You are back with this vignette. Somebody asked in the questions earlier and I started for you, but it said, I'm seeing a lot of vignetting. Is that on purpose? And yes, it is.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I am guilty of the vignette and I am proud of it. So, yep, I definitely own it. And this one here, again, with a little bit of muted colors, and and it is naturally muted too, just with the weather that we had with the snow in the background there. But this also, and again with that vignette, this to me reminds me of an old school photograph, and especially with those muted colors there, with that 12 to 40 f2.8 lens. And during that rainy, windy, crazy day along the beach, handheld here, and drop my ISO down to 100 so I can get to a 1/6 of a second shutter speed to give a little bit of motion to the waves crashing in, and black and white straight out camera shot. And
Oh,
this here,
beautiful.
yeah, this was really fun. This is, I don't know if it was this one or another one from that scene. It's on the OM System website for the camera here, but just playing around with shutter speeds, and wasn't using the GND filter, the built-in live GND filter. I didn't really need that for this handheld at a half a second. That worked perfectly for me, and I was also able to shoot faster too without doing the computational GND, and I needed that, especially with these wave actions, and every single wave and every single photo you take is so different, and I wanted to repeat, get a whole lot of different photos at once. So half a second exposure at f/18 with the live GND too, because you got the dark water with a bright cloudy sky, and that live GND helped me keep the exposure in balance and in check on this photo. Same exact thing with this photo here as well, live GND. f/16 at 200 ISO for 0.8 second photo, and just slightly edited again. And taking a look here on the left is the photo without any color enhancement at all or anything like that, just a normal straight raw that you would have. And look at these 3 different versions here that you can dial in with the black and white, and you can make that little orange house, look black or look really bright. You just have so much control in camera to be able to do this out in the field, and it is so fun working with that. And Northern Lights, this here is with the 8mm f1.8 Fisheye Pro, and this was processed in OM System Workspace, and I used the dewarping, the fisheye dewarping in there. A lot of times I don't do that though. If I'm kind of like I own the vignette, I'll shoot a lot of aurora photos with the fisheye, and I own that distortion too, and I'll leave it there. But just for the heck of it, I decided to defish this photo here, ISO 6400. Now, OM Workspace has AI noise removal, and it didn't download any of the profiles yet. They're not ready yet for the OM3, but it did do some really solid noise reduction to begin with here, and at ISO 6400, fantastic image quality on this. Shot at f1.8 wide open. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. I'm just really impressed. It looks really good. Even I love the 8mm when I do starry stuff, so I utilize the fisheye often, and it just it looks really good. It doesn't have any distortion really in the aurora or the stars. It looks great.
Yeah. And the thing, I rarely defish them, because then, this aurora was literally going around us for 360 degrees. We had some happy clients that night. We were out photographing this aurora from 10:30 at night till 3 in the morning, and it was just unbelievable. So so that's the one thing, is when you defish it, you then lose a little bit of your photo as well. But got the main part of the aurora with that swirl and the light beams and everything like that right behind the peaks there. And I'll leave you with one last aurora, and this one here with the 17mm, same night, same beach. ISO 6400, 3.2 second exposure, wide open at f1.8, and again, just slightly edited.
Oh, so beautiful. I'm so jealous. I know you're thankful I wasn't there, because you went to the Tetons with me and listened to me complain about being cold the entire time, but I wish I was there complaining about being cold so I could look at the aurora. That's amazing.
I think, you wouldn't be feeling the cold at this point here.
Yeah. Numb. I've just gone completely numb. Although you'd be so proud of me, Matt. This is so off topic, guys. Sorry. I bought a parka, and it is so warm, and it is feathered down, and it is and I utilize it for when I'm out at night taking photos now. And so I'm not complaining. So next time we go to the Tetons, I will be well prepared.
Yeah. And should we tell everyone that, you were all like, decked in with all this heavy winter gear, and I'm like outside with a short sleeve shirt, and it's just like, what's going on, Mishalla?
I'm cold-blooded. I don't know. It was terrible. All right, so we got a couple more questions we can get through. One sec. Sorry, I was reading something and I got confused on what they were asking, but I'll add it to this anyway. Answered the computational simulations with the computational modes, but Matt Suess, I mean, I know you showed the aurora, but how do you feel like the OM3 stacked up for night sky photography, considering it's really similar to OM1 in that aspect?
Yeah. I mean, there's no difference at all. I mean, really, the only difference is just the grip, but your camera's on a tripod. You know, the speed and everything is on par with the OM1, and it's got starry sky AF. For the night sky, you know, I'll turn on the night vision. It's in there, and you know, that gives you a brighter view inside the viewfinder and on the back of the screen. And I mean, yeah, this is a perfect camera for night sky. It's got the same, as far as I know, it's the same sensor as the OM1 as well.
Correct. Yep. Mm-hmm. Or you can be like me and connect the Wi-Fi to your phone and do your live composite from the warmth of your car because it's too cold outside. And I'm wrapped in my parka with my hot tea.
Then what happens if a bear grabs your camera?
Oh, I would rather the bear get the camera than me, Matt. The camera.
Oh, we should test if these cameras are bear proof. Is there a rating for bear?
Oh my gosh. Kind of like back in the day, the Will It Blend show on YouTube where they would put stuff in a blender. We should have a Will a bear beat it? See if the bear wins or the camera wins. We'll see. All right. Next up, I know this got answered, but I just want to verify, is the OM3 and 17 millimeter promo available for B&H photo or only our OM sightings? That promo is actually available to all of your authorized retailers. So if you're in the US, if you're talking about our US or Canadian pre-order campaign, those are available to all authorized retailers. So if you have a local camera store you know and love, head in there, give them some business, pre-order your camera with them, get it. We will be shipping those cameras all and lenses starting February 2nd, along with the new RMWR2. That's a mouthful. RMWR2 remote, because I know everybody's been waiting for the updated remote because the last one is out of stock currently. So that will also be shipping on February 27th as well in the US. Now check with your local site if you're in Europe, because I know we have a couple of Europeans still on here and I saw a few Australians too. Hello, Australia. Check with your local OM system page and it'll tell you when your shipping start dates will be. I'm sorry, I don't have them all memorized. My brain can only hold in so much. Okay. That goes back to the vignetting question again. And then one question I've seen pop up a few different times is, what were the improvements made to the 17 millimeter Mark II and the 25 millimeter Mark II? So the main call out on that is that they're weather sealed now. They've never been weather sealed before. Our tiny little prime lenses weren't previously weather sealed, and now they are. They both have a metal build body. They have the exact same filter size now too, so you can share filters between the two if you own both of them. That's their main update. Other than that, their image quality is just as good and built in the same way as the previous models. I am a huge fan of the original 17. It's kind of my walk around lens on my Pen F realistically. And I mean, obviously, Matt, you were getting all kinds of different versatile shots with the 17 millimeter.
Yeah. No, I was surprised how much I loved shooting with that lens. I'm gonna have to. I already ordered the camera. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be ordering the 17 as well.
I love that. Yeah, the 17 is like the perfect fit for this camera. I mean, I love the 25. I use the 25 a lot for portrait stuff in general. And of course, it has all of the AI autofocus that OM1 Mark II does. So you can still utilize this for portrait photography too, because it has the human and face detection, and it has bird detection, it has car detection, all of that. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the 25 millimeter for that. But the 17 is just such a nice walkabout lens. Like if you don't need zoom and you're willing to zoom with your feet, it's such a good lens for just everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that format, that millimeter that it's achieving there, 35 millimeter full frame is what a lot of rangefinder cameras used to be. So you can get usually like a 28 or a 35.
Okay, so this one we didn't address because you didn't shoot this. Oh gosh, where did it just go? Your comments are disappearing so fast. You guys type too fast. What does the S&P option on the left dial do?
Yes. Yeah. So
you want to talk through it
here. Yeah. So we have some video stuff, and this is something that I didn't get a chance to play with too much yet. Just didn't have the right scenes for it, but something I'm really excited about. And it gives you quick access to slow motion photography. And I can't remember the frames per second. You might have to help me on the specs there. But then
slow-mo goes up to 120.
Yep. And then you also have a hyperlapse, so that you can set it up there and, think of doing like a time lapse and speeding it up and post process all those photos. It does it right in camera there as well.
Right. And so the quick mode, so that hyperlapse photography can go all the way down to 1 frame per second. And then slow motion is 120 in full HD or 60 in 4K. I'm memorizing things. But yeah, it's actually really convenient. We've never really had that on a quick and easy dial to where you can pop from one to the other. So still photos, you're in your still photos, and then you can quickly switch to video. The nice thing about the video settings too, not slow and quick. Slow and quick mode are their own thing. So keep that in mind. But in the regular video mode setting, you can actually use the creative dial. So those color profiles you can actually utilize in your video. You can also use the OM log modes. There's 2 new kind of preset filters for your videos that were built into just this camera. There's OM Cinema 1 and OM Cinema 2. One's a little bit more contrasty and one's a little bit more soft focus, kind of a muted tones to it. So that'll do color grading right in camera. And then of course it has our OM log in it as well. So there's a whole bunch of video features crammed in there. I'm not a big video person. I make Instagram reels. That's about where I draw the line on my video talents. But we do actually have a live stream coming up later this week that will be covering all the video features. So again, definitely go check out our YouTube page. There's so many live streams that are scheduled for the next week and a half, kind of going over all kinds of different features that are built in to the camera and different call outs that we want to make sure everyone understands. All right, guys, I feel there's still questions coming in, and we will be going through and answering questions as we go throughout the week. I know David in the UK is always very great about following up on almost all of our questions that you guys ask, and definitely go check out our site, go check out the page. There's all kinds of information. I actually made some of the videos about all these different features that are in there. So you can go, oh, I know that lady from YouTube. And Matt Suess, again, I will pop up your banner one more time. Matt Suess has got videos going out on his Instagram channel as well, explaining some of these features, and more of his photos are going to be on there. So there's so much more to check out. And we've got more ambassadors that are going to be sharing over the rest of this week and into next week. And if you have questions, ask us. We're here for you.
Yeah. And should we mention you and I are going on a little bit of a short tour? People can see us in person at a couple places.
That's right. I mentioned at the very beginning that we are doing kind of this photo tour around the US, and there's going to be first look events, but you're doing 2 of them, and just happenstance, I'm going to be there too, and we can high five and eat dinner.
Yes. Yeah. And Mike, who's in the chat there, will be teaming up with him in Indianapolis, I believe.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll be in Seattle and in Indianapolis.
Seattle, we're there in February, not November. February 15th, and then I believe we'll be at Kenmore Camera in Seattle, November 15th, and then Robert's Camera on
the following weekend,
November 22nd. Correct? Yes, November 22nd. Jim is going to put all of our events in the chat for me because I'm just now fumbling over my words because it's nighttime. And again, not a professional. I thank you guys for letting me be on YouTube with you every month and putting up with me and my shenanigans, and for my amazing guests that always let me ramble like crazy. Matt Suess, you've been awesome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and sharing all your images. Really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed your time with the camera.
Oh, absolutely. And always love connecting with you, Mishalla, and talking about the OM system gear that you and I both dearly love. And thank you, everyone, for watching all over the world. I don't know why Mishalla keeps on saying it's night, because I know it's only like 3 o'clock in the afternoon where she's at.
My day started at 5 a.m. I'm sleeping. And it's stormy here, so it's dark. I looked out the window and it looks like nighttime, so I don't know. Well, good night or good morning, depending on where you guys are. And thank you so much for checking out our live stream tonight. I will be back in about a week. We'll be talking about the 100 to 400 Mark II with Art LaFaux. That'll be heading up soon as well. So you'll get one more chance to see me mess up on technology and fumble through my words. All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much, Matt.
Good night. Thank you.